Before we talk to Jake, let's just have a listen to what David Lammy had to say yesterday, speaking of Good Morning Britain.
Now we see the grotesque spectacle of kids holding out their hand for food and being shot and killed as they wait. And of course, it offends all possible public consciousness in our own country. But why we saw so many countries come together and sign that statement, I think now up to 28, is because it offends the global community.
Yeah, well, the global community is being taken for a very long ride by the Hamas propaganda machine, it seems to me. Jake Wallis Simons, one of the few people that's pointed this out. Jake, very good morning to you.
Good morning.
I find it extraordinary that Lammy, this government and so many others are being hoodwinked every single day by lies which are coming out of Gaza, perpetrated by a terrorist organisation.
It is totally mind-blowing, but I think in David Lammy's particular case, it's not a huge surprise given his track record. He's not the brightest foreign secretary we've ever had.
No.
There was his cock-up on Celebrity Mastermind in 2009. There was 2013 when he tweeted that the black and white smoke coming out from the Sistine Chapel for choosing the Pope was a racial issue. Right. So he's not the sharpest tool in the box. But look, I mean, it's a different matter when he's in charge of our foreign policy.
Yeah.
When you've got Hamas, a jihadi group, I don't need to go through the atrocities of October the 7th. Viewers and listeners know what Hamas is. They clearly have been using their own civilians as pawns in an attempt to destroy the Jews and the Jewish state. And the media is complicit in this. And now the government, the Foreign Office, is complicit in this by bringing more pressure to Israel, to bear on Israel to stop the war and withdraw than on Hamas. I mean, David Lammy never uses that sort of language against Hamas, no. Only against Israel. And look, if Israel were to give up tomorrow, pull out, leave the hostages there, leave Hamas in power, what next? There'd be another war, another atrocity within a year or two.
Well, everybody says it, and they're watching it, and as it's happening in Syria as well, where Druze families are being butchered and murdered before our very eyes on social media. Lammy doesn't have much to say about that. He just gave the leader of Syria 90 million quid. And yet he doesn't talk about the genocide that's going on there. Meanwhile, you know, people like David Collier, a very well-respected journalist, writes about what is actually going on at these aid points in Gaza. And what is going on is that Hamas are trying to control them because they know that if they don't have control of the aid, they haven't really got control of anything.
Yeah, I mean, Hamas would have you believe that Israel goes to the trouble of setting up aid distribution networks, pumping in all the aid, and then when people come to claim the aid, massacring them. Yeah. I mean, there wouldn't be much point in doing that. I mean, the Jews are not particularly stupid. They wouldn't do that and blacken their international reputation in the process.
No.
And yet, David Lammy's taken in by this. That you saw that quote just earlier where he said that, you know, children are handing out their hand for aid and then getting shot. That's exactly what Hamas wants the world to believe.
But he shouldn't be able to spout this kind of rubbish because he wasn't challenged. I mean, if he ever came on this show, which he never does, I would say, yeah, but you don't actually know that that's true. You're literally taking the word of terrorists, people who would literally cut your head off if you went to Gaza to argue with them, you know? And it's been very well explained, as I say, by David Collier, where what happens is, you know, there are firefights between members of Hamas and the IDF. The IDF shoot the members of Hamas, and then they get carried by other members of Hamas into the food distribution area to make it look as if that's where they were shot. But that's in fact not where they were shot.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the whole thing is a con, and the thing is that Hamas knows that we know what they're doing, and it also knows that we don't care, and we're going to report it anyway. Yeah. I mean, you mentioned the genocide of the Druze in Syria. I mean, that's just a couple of miles over the border from Israel, and yet the interest of the West stops at the border of Israel and doesn't go. I mean, if Israel was doing the kind of atrocities that the jihadis are doing to the Druze north of the border, the world would be up in arms. I mean, it's up in arms already. The whole thing is a lie, and it's playing into the hands of Hamas. It's really quite depraved, to be honest.
Yeah, it really is awful. Well, keep up the good work, Jake, because there's not many of us doing it, but we're trying hard. Jake Wallis Simons there, columnist at Daily Telegraph. Thank you very much indeed.